watch a clock. I don't even have to watch a clock. I don't even have to watch a clock.
Hello, welcome to the Bold Moves Podcast, episode 161. My name is Mandie Brice, and I am the host, and I am excited because today I am sharing an interview from when I chatted with a fairy godmother. I don't know how you can not be excited about that, but I spoke with Lakisha Corbett, who made a cross-country move from New York to LA, and while you're moving completely across the country, you may as well start a brand new business, right? Yes, 2 bold moves at the very same time. I love it, and I hope you do too. So, without any further ado, check out my chat with Lakisha Corbett. All right, hello everyone. Welcome to the Bold Moves Podcast. Today I am with Lakisha Corbett, who I met, if you remember way back, Olivia Charlet was a guest, and we are both part of her membership tribe. So that is where I met Lakisha, and now she's in LA as well. So this will probably be followed up at some point with coffee or lunch or something. But for now, we're going to get to know each other through the interview. Welcome, Lakisha.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so excited to see your smiley face and bright pink lips, even though you're just across town.
Yes.
So one of the things that is a bold move, which I hate to give everyone the spoiler, but you moved from cold weather to LA, sort of like I did. But you know that the show is called Bold Moves, and I know that you've made more beside that, and I'm sure there's a great story to go along with that one as well. So why don't you share a little bit about yourself and the bold moves that made you the perfect guest for this podcast?
Okay, so I've always wanted to move to California. When I was younger, I used to watch Laguna Beach, I used to watch The Hills, a bunch of shows central in LA, and I was like, I have to get there. I know that I am a beach girl. I used to hang out in Central Park, like with a towel and just like in my bikini by the little pond that they had, and I was like, I need to get to California. And then I was too afraid to leave home for college, so I ended up staying and going to community college. And then finally, I came to LA to visit back in 2013, and I was like, okay, this is it. I'm going to plan it. And then nothing worked out. Finally, I was like, if I'm going to start a business, I'm going to start in California. So I was like, okay, come August, I'm going to quit my job. I'm going to be a tourist in New York for a month. And then come September, I'm leaving. And that's what I did.
That's so awesome. So you're from New York City originally then?
Yeah.
Okay. So what part of the city are you from?
I literally lived like in Manhattan, 2 blocks away from Central Park.
Oh, amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And
I was so sick of the snow.
Yes. Okay, so my friends and family are all in like Chicago, Milwaukee, Midwest, and it's snowing there right now. So I feel funny that I'm wearing my winter hat because it's like 55 here in LA, and of course we're all like, what is this? It's not, why is it so cold? But then I look on my newsfeed and I'm like, those aren't old, this isn't, Throwback Thursday. It's literally, there are several inches of snow on the ground in Wisconsin. Is it the same in New York right now, or do they have real spring weather right now?
Yeah. New York is like kind of shaky because last week it was snowing, but then this week is like 60 degrees.
Okay.
So they don't know what they want to do.
It's trying, at least.
Yeah.
Mother Nature's trying, cooperating a little more than in the Midwest, because usually we at least start to have some sort of spring in the Midwest. But I'm like, when you're looking last week, though, I bet you feel the way that I've been feeling, where you're like, sorry for you guys, but I'm so glad.
Yeah. I'm literally going to New York tomorrow, and I'm just like, oh my God, I have to wear real pants. It's going to be insane.
I'll pray for you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, so you moved completely across the country to a brand new city, and it sounds like started a business at the exact same time. Tell me more about that.
So I had got fired from my day job 2 years ago, and I was just like, oh my God, I was a manager. I had put like my blood, sweat, and tears into this job. I dropped out of college for this job, everything. And I got fired, and it was just like, oh my God, like there's no such thing as job security. I need to figure out another way. And I was tired of like missing out on family vacations and things like that. So I was like, okay. And I started a blog just journaling my experience about what I went through. And then so many people were just like messaging me like, oh my God, like give me advice. And I was like, I can't give you advice. I'm a mess myself.
Figuring it out. I just got
Exactly.
fired.
Exactly. I was like, I don't even know how I'm going to pay rent this month. And then I ended up getting another job and was just like, I'm going to keep blogging. And then the blog just kept growing. And I was just like, okay, I think it's time to learn more about like how to actually help people. So I hired a coach. I hired Olivia. I worked with her. And then I was in her membership tribe for a really long time. And then I was like, okay, I want to be a coach. Bought a bunch of books and was just like, okay, let's do it. And then started signing clients and was like, all right, it's time to quit the job now.
Okay. So are you still in the membership tribe or have you moved on?
No, I'm still in there. I'm not as active, but I'm still there.
Same. All right. Very cool. So I feel like I've just totally lost my train of thought.
No worries.
Did you hire her one-on-one? You were working with her?
I did a group program.
Okay.
And then I went to her Unleashed event in New York City.
Very cool. And was that when you were still living in New York City, so it was local?
Yeah.
Okay, that's helpful at least. So what kind of coach are you? Are you a career coach, a life coach? How would you classify yourself?
I would classify myself as a transformational coach. Okay. So I actually call myself a fairy godmother because I feel like I can help you make all of your dreams come true. I was super obsessed with Cinderella growing up. So I'm like, all you need is a little bit of pixie dust and belief, and it can all work.
I love it.
Yeah. So I help people with their relationships, with their business, life, weight loss, the whole shebang.
Okay, very cool. And who doesn't want all of their dreams to come true?
Yeah.
Have you been down to Anaheim to Disneyland to see Cinderella yet?
No, not yet. So I've recently just convinced my sister to move here. So when her and everyone else gets here, we're all going to go to Disney.
You're bringing the party over.
Yeah.
I bet last week it wasn't too hard to get her to consider
no
hotel.
Yeah.
You're like, are you shoveling today?
Yeah. I was like, I kept sending them pictures of me by the pool. Like, I know you want this.
It's kind of rude, but I don't blame you and have done the same thing for sure.
Definitely.
So in the story of becoming a fairy godmother, and it could be something completely unrelated to that as well, but I'm wondering what the scariest thing you've ever done is.
The scariest thing I've ever done was quit my job.
Okay.
By
so
far.
you were fired from one job and then did you get a new job right after?
Yeah.
Or okay. And what were the two jobs?
I worked at a storage company each time. So literally, like, I sold boxes. The second job, I ended up working right next to Columbia University. So the kids would come in for the summer and like put their stuff away and talk about all their like amazing plans that they had. A lot of them would be from California. And I was just like, okay, I got to do this. Like, I can't just like sit around and pretend like I don't have dreams and help other people like move into their dream home and things like that. Like, no, I was like, it's time to go. It's time to do it. And I didn't really have a backup. I didn't tell my family what I was doing. I told them I had a bunch of money saved and I was lying. And
so if they're listening, do they know already that you had been lying, or is this meeting going to be a rude awakening? Okay.
Rude awakening.
We might have to have a follow-up with everyone's reactions. You'll have to keep me posted.
Yeah. And then I was like, I'm just going to do it. And for me, it was just like, if all else fails, you can always go get another job. But I was like, you shall not fail.
Right. I love that. So you just decided to be a coach and read a bunch of books. Do you have any certifications, or do you feel that the self-study that you've done and working with Olivia has kind of prepared you to take the leap?
I feel like the self-study that I've done and the experiences that I went through in my life, I hired 2 more coaches after Olivia, and I was just like, okay, I can do this. I even went to a Tony Robbins event, so I was just like, okay, I got that in me.
All right. Did you walk on the hot coals?
No, I did not.
Okay.
So the funny thing is, my sister got married in St. Martin, and then the day I was supposed to come back to work, I ended up winning tickets from my actual job to go see Tony Robbins for all 4 days.
Wow.
And then, so I wasn't supposed to actually like miss work. I was only supposed to go for a little while. So I wasn't able to actually walk on coal.
Okay.
I had to go to work, and I was just like, crap. Okay, whatever. I'm going to go to an event again. But then by the time that event was over, I quit.
There you go. You should have just stayed the whole
I
time.
know. I wasn't sure, but now I'm just like,
Well, it's a learning experience, right? Not
yes.
a regret. This must be a really progressive storage company because I have never heard of a job like that. That's like, then we'll send you to Tony Robbins. It seems like a great way to lose employees because they're going to
Yes.
have so much self-belief that they're going to be like, I'm opening my own storage company or something.
Yeah. So it's a company that's just like centered in Manhattan, and it's a $1 billion company. Like they run the show in Manhattan. They've been featured in like Sex and the City movie. They're the company that actually helps Carrie like pack all her bags and stuff to move in with Mr. Big. And I was actually the only like person that wasn't a CEO of the company at the event.
Okay.
So it was super awkward because he was like, so what are you guys going to do after this? And I was like, quit my job. And they were looking at me and I was like, I'm joking. And I was like, 2 weeks notice. Bye.
Wasn't joking. Well, I imagine that in a place like New York City, and I've thought about this when I've been there as well as when I've been in San Francisco, that storage and moving is a whole different situation than places where there's space. You know, like here in LA, it's a big city, but it's very spread out and you can park in front of most places with a big U-Haul all day. And like you might get yelled at a couple times, but it's not a thing. Whereas in New York, I can't even imagine, or San Francisco, just it's all crowded.
Apartments are super small. Most buildings have like 14 floors.
Right.
So with 2 elevators, you can only use 1 elevator at a time. There are certain like hour restrictions. So a lot of people end up needing storage.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. So I can see where that would be a big industry there. Any dreams in the storage industry since you dropped out of college and put your blood, sweat, and tears into it, or were you just
not
being
totally
the best
done.
you could? Okay. You're like, that's in the rearview mirror.
All done.
Okay, I love it. So when you were shouting, I'm going to quit my job next to the CEOs and then actually put your 2 weeks notice in, or maybe, I mean, I guess it doesn't sound too scary to move to LA where there's a pool and leave the cold behind, but how do you push past fear? And I guess, how do you recommend to your clients, or would you recommend to listeners to push past fear?
You have to really want it. So when I quit my job, I ended up taking 3 employees with me because I'm so inspirational. I was like, we all have to get out of here.
Your former CEOs are like, screw Lakisha Corbett.
Right? So the day I had put in my 2 weeks, I was like, because I'm moving to California, I'm so excited. And in true New York fashion, I can't drive. I'm learning now. But like at the time I was like, I didn't even have a permit. And my manager came up to me and was just like, this is a bad idea. You're going to come back just like everyone else who has tried to leave in a few months begging for your job back. And I was like, I don't like you and I shall not prove you right. So I was like, okay, we're going to figure out a way to do this.
Yeah.
Dust my shoulders off, and I came to LA and was just like, if you have to work like 30 hours a day or like whatever you have to do, like freaking do it.
Right.
And make it happen. And it felt so good to go back to work, like go back to my old job, Christmas break, and just be like, it's been 4 months now. Still happy, still great.
My vitamin
all my cool adventures. Really my cool adventures.
Yes. Do you have that person's face like hung up on your wall, or just for like motivation sometimes when you're like, this is hard?
Yeah, he used to be my screensaver, like creepy enough.
I get it.
Yeah, because I was like, I know that I really want this, and I would be so upset with myself if I allowed like his words to ring true and actually manifest. So I was like, no, I'm going to use this as motivation. I know that I want to be here. I know that I love the sun. I know that I love my business. So I'm going to make it happen by any means necessary.
I love that. That's fantastic.
Yeah. So your why is definitely like the most important thing. Like you have to truly, truly want it, and you will stick with it.
I totally agree with that. And I can see how that face, like if you ever feel a little lazy and then you're like, what time is it? Oh, there he is. It's time to work.
Yeah.
I love that. So, what would you say your purpose is? Because you mentioned your why, and I guess you can share that as part of your purpose. And if you don't know your purpose, that's totally fine. And I know that evolves for a lot of people too. So I always hate when I ask that question because I don't want someone to be like, oh my gosh, I don't know. Okay.
Luckily, I do a lot of journaling, so I have an answer.
Okay, fantastic.
So my purpose is to help women specifically realize their worth. Because I know for me growing up, I really struggled a lot with feeling like I was limited to what was around me. I grew up in low-income housing. I didn't have my father there. I watched my mother struggle to raise 4 daughters. So it was a lot of struggle that for me, I didn't feel like I could go out and live this abundant life. Mm-hmm. So when I got the manager position at my job, I was like, oh my God, this is totally amazing. What do I need to go to school for? My life is totally set.
Yeah.
I can just like live my life this way. I got 2 weeks vacation. I make a lot of money. I can afford to live in New York. Life is grand. And it was like, no, it's not. I was totally miserable and I was trying to make myself feel better.
Yeah.
And all the issues with the self-worth, it wouldn't allow me to go back to school. I couldn't get the amazing boyfriend. I really didn't feel like I could do anything outside of the picture that was painted to me when I was younger. So I want women to see that they are freaking badasses and that they can go out there and literally live out their wildest dreams.
I love that. And I'm going to go back a little bit because you were talking about how amazing you felt when you got your job and you thought you were living the dream and all of that. And it reminded me of when you were explaining your story and the bold moves you've made about how you said you thought you had job security until you were fired. And then you're like, there is no job security. I have to make my own. And I think that that's such an interesting concept because I think so many people get comfortable doing whatever, like they graduate high school, maybe go to college, after college, get a job in their field and stay there for like 40 years, which I think is happening a lot less now. But it's still like people are like, oh, but the stability of a paycheck. It's like, well, that's not always that stable. And
it's not.
Is an exact example of that. So could you talk a little bit more about how that went?
So, my company has been around for a really long time. So there were people who I was working with. I was with the company from the beginning, from when it first opened. Yeah. So for me, it was just like, wow, like, do I see myself 20 years from now sitting in the same space? Like, yeah, you probably got like $1 raise or something if you're lucky each year, and was like, no, that isn't going to afford the lifestyle that I want for myself. I love to travel.
Yeah.
And I want to be able to travel at the drop of a hat when I feel called to. So it was just like, okay, this isn't for me. So then getting fired, I was like, okay, I don't know what to do. I'm just going to get another job until I figure it out. And then I got there. It was exciting in the beginning and then it sucked again. And it was just like, okay, no, fire under your butt. Like, let's go.
Right.
Let's make it happen. So I feel like I want people to know that, yes, you can totally love your day job. You totally can love what you do, but just make sure that you understand that your life and your abundance is up to you. Like, you are responsible for how you get to live your life. And it isn't just after you clock out of work or on the weekends.
Right. I'm so glad that you said that, because even with things that I say on this podcast and in life, I feel like it seems like I'm crapping on the day job. And like you said, if you do love it, that's amazing. And I don't think that it's terrible for everyone. I think that some people are very passionate about what they do. I just think that sometimes the self-reflection is so important, of making sure that you are, and that you're not just, coasting along or convincing yourself that you're happy like you said you were. And I totally get what you mean by like, oh, it was something sort of new, so it was exciting for like 10 minutes and then all of a sudden it was the same thing again. And I completely feel you on that one. So I think that that's great thing to consider.
I used to walk to work. I was like, I had the best job ever. I never have to take a train. I don't need a car. It was amazing. And then it was just like, no, it's not amazing, because you can walk to work. So even when it snows, they expect you to come in.
Yes, my husband had that type of thing too, where he was like 2 blocks from work, and he's like, now the only thing about it is whenever something bad happens and it's an emergency, I'm the person that they call. Like one time the heater turned off, and like in the middle of the night, he's like, oh, I have to go at like 6 o'clock in the morning. He's a physical therapist, so but he's the closest.
Yeah, the worst.
Yes, absolutely. So I think that you gave great advice about that reflection. I was wondering if you have any other, and the advice you gave to push past fear as well. I'm wondering if you have any other just general advice, lessons you've learned, lessons you wished you'd learned sooner, anything of value that you can pass on to the listeners or viewers.
The most amazing piece of advice is that your past does not define you. Because I feel like a lot of the times we get so caught up in all the mistakes, all the flaws, and all the things that didn't really go according to plan that we're just like, oh, I can't do this. You know, it isn't possible for me because I didn't finish X, Y, and Z, or because this didn't work out. I wasn't ready. So maybe I should wait a little longer. I should learn a little more. And it's like, no, you totally are ready. Like we were born ready.
Yeah.
And there's no end to learning. So there's always going to be more to learn. So never feel like you have to put yourself on hold because you don't know enough.
Preach. I feel like I needed that too. So I'm like, yes, keep going. Let me get a free coaching session right now.
So for me, what I did was I actually wrote out like all the like amazing things that I've manifested. And I have like, it's probably like 3 or 4 pages now of all the amazing things that I've accomplished. So for me, every time I'm just like, oh, I can't do something. I'm like, no, let's look at this list. You've done some like pretty epic things. So like, just know that more epic things are possible for you. So don't limit yourself. Don't tell yourself that you can't do it right now because you didn't think you could do all these things, but here they are. Here's 3 pages worth. I
love that. And that's huge. I don't know if I issued this as a challenge or someone else did. And we'll get to the challenge thing in a little bit more actually after we're done recording. But I had a challenge of make a done list. You know, like so many high achievers are into the to-do list and then get so into like next thing that you forget what you've accomplished along the way. But when you, like you said, make a list of all the amazing epic things you've done, it's kind of like, oh, I never celebrated any of those.
And then like celebrate them right now. I have a dance party every single day.
I love it. What do you dance to? What was today's dance party?
Today's was Diana Ross, I'm Coming Out.
Okay, good choice.
Yeah.
I like that.
I was really feeling the beat today.
Perfect. All right, so you gave some great advice, and I think now everyone has a good dance party song advice recommendation as well.
Yes.
You said that when you decided that you were going to start your business and become a coach, that you read a bunch of books. Now, your book recommendations don't have to be any of those books, but if you loved any of those, that would be fabulous. Or it could even be like you said, you're a beach girl. What do you read by the beach for fun? Anything that you think the listeners or viewers would enjoy reading.
My favorite book that I need to repurchase again because every time I buy it, someone reads it and steals it is Ben Sincero, You Are a Badass.
Okay.
That book is so amazing. It's all about overcoming limiting beliefs and really just realizing that basically you are a badass.
I love that. I have an online personal development book club, and we just finished You Are a Badass at Making Money. But I haven't read just the You Are a Badass, the first one. So I definitely have to check it out. It's a great recommendation. And that's funny. Maybe you should just buy like a case of them.
Yeah, so I think I'm just gonna like give them away for Christmas or like birthdays or something.
Costco, you can get a bunch. I love it. Any other book recommendations?
My second favorite would be Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life.
Okay.
And oh my God, she just like blows my mind.
Yeah.
With her abilities to take an affirmation and actually show you how it applies to your life and how to actually transform and heal the wounds that you feel like you have. Because a lot of the times we feel like we're broken and there's no like future after what we've been through. And she really shows you that you can heal yourself and move forward.
Now, isn't her backstory, I have that book, and I believe I started it and didn't finish it, so that's on my list now too. But isn't her story that she was like terminally ill, and didn't she actually heal herself from like terminal illness? Isn't that kind of her background?
Yeah, she had cancer.
Okay.
And she decided to start eating healthy. She did a whole bunch of affirmations. She did a bunch of forgiveness work. And then next thing you know, she was like, good. And after that, she decided to start a business. She started taking dance classes. And now like Hay House is one of the biggest self-help publishing companies in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. That's amazing. And she just passed like with a few months ago, right? But from really old age. So not.
Yeah, she was like in her 90s, I believe.
Yeah, so inspiring, and I love it. Mm-hmm. All right, so you said you help women realize their worth. If someone's listening and either they want to see more of you and your adventures, they want to potentially hire you, where are you online so people can find you? Social media, website, and so on.
You can find me at ourlipsaremoving.com. My Instagram and Facebook is /ourlipsaremoving.
Okay. And what is the name meaning, the story behind the name?
So I'm super obsessed with karaoke, and Meghan Trainor had just came out with like her song Lips Are Moving. And at first I thought I was going to be a gossip blogger. And then I was like, I don't want to tear people down. So I had already had the domain, Our Lips Are Moving, and I was like, let's just keep it. And instead of like, attacking celebrities or whatever, I'm going to speak life into women. And was just like, let's do it. And I recorded a music video of me like lip singing her song and was just like, okay, this is it. I'm sticking to it.
Okay, you have to send me that because your links and all that are going to be in the show notes. And then I think people want to see that too.
Yeah.
So I can put that in the show notes as well. So ourlipsaremoving.com and then Instagram and Facebook /ourlipsaremoving.
Our Lips Are Moving.
Okay, perfect. And so if somebody does want to hire you, can you explain a little bit about how that works, what they get, how that process is?
So I would offer a coaching session with you so you can see what it's actually like to work with me. And then based on your goals and the dreams that you actually want to work on, we'll cater a program strictly for you and your needs.
Okay.
So that could be 1 month, that could be 6 months, that could be just an intensive, whatever I feel like would best suit you.
Okay. So it can be flexible and personalized and tailored. Awesome. All right. So my last question that I have for you is one of my favorites to ask. I ask people this all the time, even before I had a podcast. But if little 8-year-old Lakisha could look into a crystal ball, I think I know the answer to this already, and see where you are today, as well as, what's kind of coming up that you can foresee. So, your sister is coming to move out here, the plans that have been made already. On a scale of 1 to 11, how excited would little Lakisha be to see where you are now?
An 11, maybe even like a 15 or something.
I had a feeling the number was going to be high. I didn't know if you were going to break the rules and exceed it. We're going to go with the 11, but I'm thinking about your story.
When I was 8 years old, me and my sister, we started a radio show. My mom bought us a karaoke machine, and we would just like interview each other back and forth. We would sing our own songs. We had wild imaginations. So she would be very excited to know that we actually continued to grow and be a creative.
Do you have any of those recorded at all?
I still have the cassette tapes.
Yeah.
This is how old, long ago that was.
Yeah, there's cassette tapes of me talking and stuff too. I'm sure that they have the services where you can get that into an MP3.
Yeah. I'm nervous to listen to what that sounds like.
Maybe you can do that as a welcome to California party.
Yeah.
Your sister can have a glass of wine and listen to when you're little.
Definitely.
It sounds fun to me.
A lot of wine.
Well, I'll let you decide that. Well, I really appreciate you coming on the show and sharing your story and your bubbly energy. It's been so fun having a chat with you.
Thank you.
My pleasure. And I am excited to hear about the reactions of your family when they found out that you were not entirely honest when you mentioned all the money you'd saved to move to California. So keep us posted on that one.
Will do.
I feel like this episode should have been sponsored by the California Board of Tourism or something, because we really made quite the commercial for the amazingness that is Southern California, but it is pretty awesome, I will tell you that. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed our chat and that you share this with as many people as you possibly can, because who wouldn't want to hear the backstory of how someone becomes a fairy godmother? Now, of course, I also want you to subscribe so that when Lakisha shares her challenge with us this Friday, you are here for it. You get an automatic notification or an automatic download. That would be fabulous, and I would love that. So make sure you please do that. Also, like I said, share this with other people who might want to hear from a fairy godmother so that they can enjoy it themselves. And make sure you check out the show notes. You got to see that video of her lip syncing if she sends it to us. But you can also, of course, find Lakisha's website, her book recommendation, all of the relevant links and pictures and such at mandiem.com, mandiem.com/episode 161, since this is the 161st episode. Now, episode 162 is a challenge from Lakisha to get you outside of your comfort zone, and I think you'll love it, so make sure you're subscribed or come back and check it out so that you can do the challenge with us. All right, as always, be bold and have a sparkly day. Bye-bye.